Hello and welcome to a brand new Pokemon Showdown team building session. Today we are building a team around the monster of Gen 1, the roadblock of Gen 1, that is Snorlax. And, oh boy, not until just before this recording did I realise just how much ridiculous move coverage this Pokemon has. Like, almost every type in the game. The only type in the game I don't think this Pokemon has access to is Fairy. Like, it doesn't get many Fairy type moves. The rest, it gets so much coverage. We can do anything we want with this thing. So, we're going to make this thing potentially able to destroy an entire team. That's the aim. Called Kumbhakana, reference to basically the god in Smite that's a fat pile of human flesh, which Snorlax, not too far from that, so I think it fits. And we are going to, firstly, the move I definitely want on this thing is Body Slam. We want that paralyzed chance. We are going to be that scumbag, yes. We also want Crunch. I do want Curse, because basically +1 attack, +1 defense, that special defense is already incredibly high. Its attack's pretty high, its HP is high. Curse is just a great move on this Pokemon. And finally, I am also going to be running Rest. It took me a long while to actually think of a set that I wanted to run on Snorlax after I learned just the sheer amount of moves it got. Because Earthquake is incredible paired with Body Slam, because it basically means that the typings that you're walled out by, which are Rock and Steel, completely negated by Earthquake. It's really helpful. The same with Fighting type, but the only thing that left was a little bit of a weakness to Ghost. And I think I dislike the weakness to Ghost a little bit more. And we're also going to give this thing a Chesto Berry for its Rest. I would give it like a Lum Berry, but honestly, what's the point when Rest just cures poison, cures paralysis, all of that stuff? We may as well just go with Chesto. And as I was just saying, immunity isn't going to really have any benefit because, let's face it, if we get poisoned by Toxic or anything like that, we can just rest it off. So we'll go with Thick Fat instead and get 2 additional resistances essentially, which basically mean we're going to resist fire and ice, which is really nice to have. As for an EV spread, we are going to go with something pretty basic. This thing's pretty much just going to be specially defensive, and that way we can get the most out of Curse, in my opinion. And I think we are also going to give this thing a negative speed nature. I would rather have this thing be as slow as possible so that we can make use of potentially a Trick Room user. Potentially. I would make this thing shiny, but let's be honest, it's such a minimal difference that it doesn't even matter. Now, building a team around this, on the other hand, building a defensive core around this, I should say, not a team, basically just means we have to worry about fighting types. Fighting types generally in this tier are going to be offensive more than specially offensive. They're going to be hitting on the physical side, so I'd rather have my defensive wall be resistant. And the types that resist fighting are like Psychic, terrible type to use for the majority. Flying, pretty terrible type to use, but Ghost is immune, and there is a Ghost type I know that's in this tier that does get access to Trick Room, and that is Cofagrigus. And you are going to be called Gravelord, because I've been playing a lot of Dark Souls, and you're making me think of Gravelord Nito, and yep, that's pretty much the only reason. And you're going to have a Rocky Helmet. This Pokemon does make great use of leftovers because it has no actual recovery as such, but this thing's going to be physically defensive, and I'd rather have Rocky Helmet, so we'll go with that. We'll also Will-O-Wisp and Hex, because that's a nice combo. Now, here we have some options. We could give it Nasty Plot. We could allow this thing to set up. Its special attack stat isn't bad. I did say Trick Room. We should definitely give it Trick Room. We could give it Destiny Bond, and that would be a scumbag thing to do, so I don't think we're going to do that. We could give it Haze to stop enemies setting up on us, but I feel there are better ways to deal with that. We could give it Toxic, double up on status, but I'm not a fan of doubling up on status. We could go with Pain Split, and that would give us a little bit of recovery, potentially. At the moment, we can't hit normal types. Like, the worst thing we could possibly go up against with this Pokemon right now is probably a Pyroar. Because we couldn't Will-O-Wisp it, we couldn't Hex it. But I think Pain Split should be fine. If there's the off chance that we have to fight a Pyro with this thing, that would be so coincidental that it's not even worth imagining that as a scenario. So we're just going to make this thing physically defensive. We're going to give you a minus speed nature, so we can get the most out of Trick Room. Same with Snorlax. We'll give you 8 points into your special attack to make you hit that tiny bit harder. In fact, no. We're going to give you 8 points into your special defense, just on the off chance we come into something that's mixed. Say like mixed Flygon or something. That's more IU, but it could still happen. As for shiny, yes. That's all I have to say, just yes. Now, especially defensive Pokemon to go with Cofagrigus. We're only really worrying about dark types when I think about this Pokemon. Like Ghost, sure, it is a weakness, but I mean, it's not really, because it hits Ghost back. It's the same thing with Dragon types. I don't feel like Dragon types are especially weak to Dragon because they hit them back for super effective. So I think the whole thing just kind of cancels out. So with Ghost and Dragon types, I don't really feel too threatened by another Ghost type if I have the same type. And also, there's Snorlax there with the immunity to Ghost, so we're mainly going to be dealing with Dark. And the type that would probably be best would be Fairy, if we can get a Fairy type. If not, then Fighting wouldn't be bad. Fighting would also be quite good. But we're looking for a specially defensive Fighting type. That's probably not going to be a thing. Especially defensive Fairy type, however. We have Florges. We do have Florges. That would not be bad. We also have Sylveon in this tier now. Sylveon is, in my opinion, Sylveon is not a wall. Sylveon is much better offensive. I think we will take Florges. And we're just going to call you Brittany. I have no name for Florges. That's what it's getting. As for a moveset, Moonblast definitely, because that will annihilate the majority of Dark types. We could give it Wish Protect. We're going to give it Wish, we're going to give it Toxic. Do we give it Wish Protect? See, my problem with Fairy types is they have such a perfect move slot. Like, Fairy is so weak to Poison and Steel. Those two are the obvious ones, but it also doesn't hit Fire very effectively. Now, if you want something perfect to deal with that, you can just run Hidden Power Ground. And you can suddenly hit all of the types that threaten Fairy, and it's like a perfect thing. The only thing we'd have to worry about is like Crobat. Crobat, Charizard, Talonflame, Skarmory. I can think of 4 Pokemon in the entire Pokemon universe that would not die. And Shedinja. But Hidden Power Ground is pretty much what we need. We're going to make this thing specially defensive. I would lower this thing's speed, but honestly, base 75 speed, that can be used without Trick Room, so we're going to keep that, and we're just going to give this thing leftovers. As for its abilities, they have no use in single battles at all. None at all. Okay. Moving on. What are we lacking? What do we really need? We have bulky physical attacker, bulky defensive wall, bulky. We have a lot of bulk. We need something that's just gonna. We need something that's gonna break through walls. Something incredibly powerful. But maybe I can even choice band it. Conkelda does fit that. Entei, that fits that. That fits that well, and that's fast. Which would be a nice thing to have on a team that's pretty slow. Base 100 though, we could probably get faster than that. We could take a Moxie Crocodile. What type? Let's change this. What types are we weak to? Do we have any glaring type weakness? Steel. Steel is a pretty bad type for us right now. Which would mean Entei would work. Entei would work really well. We're taking Entei. I don't care, we're taking Choice Banded Entei. Let's go. We are naming you Excelente. I'm sure someone will pick up on this. And we will give you Flash Fire, because I think that's legal now. I think. I will obviously check that. And you need Sacred Fire, because that is your signature move. Well, you and Ho-Oh, both of you have it. You can get Extreme Speed, which I think means we have to make you Adamant, but at the end of the day, I'm fine with that, because that priority is nice. We will give you Stone Edge, because that's a beautiful move. And I think we will give you Bulldoze. I'm still... Right, you need to be Adamant before I do anything, because you have Extreme Speed. And the reason I'm going with Bulldoze is because it does hit the types that we don't really hit. Like, I just feel like ground is an important type to have, and it can lower Pokemon speed when they come in. So if a Pokemon is likely to swap into, say their Choice Scarf user, Bulldoze basically just means they have no item, which would be a really nice thing to have. So we're going to be running that. We don't have a Mega on this team, so I'm just going to have a quick look what Megas we could take. What type are we weak to? Well, Fire is weak to Rock, Ground, Water, so something that would be nice against those three would be good. Rock, Ground, Water, Abomasnow. Abomasnow is weak to Rock, I don't want that. I don't want that. That wouldn't be terrible, but it's not the best. Mega Aggron would be weak to Ground. We could run Mega Blastoise, which wouldn't be good against the Water typing, but it would be really good for Rock and Ground types. It would also potentially be a Rapid Spinner. It's not so fast that it couldn't be used with Trick Room. It's kind of bulky. I think we're going to take it. We're going to take Mega Blastoise. And I saw this thing called War Bowser on someone else's team once, and that's a beautiful name, so yes. 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 And we will give you Torrent before you Mega Evolve, although you should be Mega Evolving pretty quickly, so that doesn't matter too much. We will give you the Water Pulse, because that benefits. We could give it Water Spout. I'm seriously debating this. We could honestly give this thing Water Spout. No one would expect it. But no one expects it because it's not great. Nah, we're just gonna give it Water Pulse. We'll also give it Dark Pulse, Aura Sphere, and I would say Ice Beam is a little bit better than Dragon Ball. Yeah, we'll give you Ice Beam. It doesn't make use of the ability Mega Launcher, but at the same time, Ice Beam's a nice move to have. This set looks pretty much how I imagined it. You're just gonna be destroying enemies. That sounds good. We could give this thing Rapid Spin. We could. But our team isn't weak to Rapid Spin, yet by any means. The only Pokemon that's slightly weak to Rocks... Did I say weak to Rapid Spin? I meant to say weak to Stealth Rocks, my bad. We don't have a massive weakness to them, but we also aren't entirely prepared for them. Which does make me consider it. However, I value this Pokemon's move slots more than I value the utility of Rapid Spin, and I think I'd rather have the coverage, so we're going to stick with that. And for a final Pokemon, I would like a Choice Scarf user. I would definitely like a Choice Scarf user that can U-turn and have some Switch Initiative, because we don't have any Switch Initiative. I would also like something that could potentially get rid of Rocks. And I can't have both. I can't really have both. There's not a Pokemon I can think of that's going to be able to Choice Scarf themselves into Defog without screwing themselves up, because that isn't possible. So, I kind of want a Dragon type. It's just the feeling I'm getting, because at the moment, do we have any massive weakness? Ground is still a little bit of a weakness, so yeah, something like Flygon with Levitate. Salamence, maybe, with Moxie, that could be really good. Choice Scarf Moxie, that could be really good. That doesn't have Switch Initiative, though. Whereas something like Choice Scarf Hydreigon... Ooh, Choice Scarf Hydreigon... Ooh, that does get U-turn. So just Flygon. Okay, right. I've narrowed it down to do I want Flygon or Hydreigon. Now it's just personal preference. Hydreigon. What would you bring? You would bring a fighting weakness. Wouldn't be too much of a problem. Our core resists it, but it's not my favourite thing to have. You would bring a lot of power. Hang on, there's an easy way to decide. Physical, special, special, physical, special. I want physical. Flygon, done. Easy, easy. That's the best way to do it. It's nice to have an even amount of physical and special attackers. Although special attackers can generally be a little bit more trustworthy, you generally want a nice mixture. So, you're going to be Choice Scarfed. You are definitely getting U-turn. That's one thing you must have. Do we give it Draco? Or do we give it Outrage? I think I would rather have Outrage. I'm tempted to make this thing mixed. I really am. We could give this thing Earth Power. We really could. Its special attack is a little bit worse, sure, but it can be mixed. So, do we want this thing physical? Yeah, we'll run Earthquake. Admittedly, its special set is actually really good as well, so I mean, it definitely has a lot of potential to be either. But I just feel like the combination of Dragon, Ground, and Rock just hits so many different Pokemon that it's too good to pass up, and I can get all of those with a physical set, so I may as well. Also, I called this thing Ace without even really explaining it. That's just a default nickname for me now. I've completely got used to calling this Pokemon Ace. Now then, is there any way I can possibly fit Defog/Rapid Spin onto this team without screwing everything up? The only Pokemon that I can think that would be able to do it would be Blastoise, and I do not want to give up a slot of its moveset. I really don't. Do I value Rapid Spin that much? This is where it comes down to personal preference. If you want to run Rapid Spin on your teams, go for it. If you want to run move coverage on your teams, go for it. I think I'm running move coverage. We're going to stick with this. I'm not going to worry about hazards. This could be a terrible mistake. We'll find out in the Pokemon Showdown battles tomorrow, sure, but this could be a terrible mistake. Now, yep, this is what I was afraid of. Entei, hidden ability, not released, extreme speed, can't be learned, incompatible with another move. What move is it incompatible with? And you have that pressure. So, just going to quickly validate again, see if it was just the... Nope. Must be shiny. Okay. I don't mind having a shiny Entei at all. Are we valid now? Team is valid. Okay, so it was lying about the move, it was just the ability. That's all good. And I think this is going to be our team for the battles tomorrow. So if you guys have enjoyed this Pokemon Showdown team building episode based around this beautiful lump of fat Snorlax, leave a like down below, hit that subscribe button, it really helps out, and without further ado, bye!